After hearing the recent Disney news and rumors, schadenfreude is kicking in, and I find it impossible not to mock their poor numbers.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
As many of you may know, yesterday was the earnings call for Disney, where the board unveils financial news for the company and tries to spin it in a positive way to entice investors to continue investing. This time around, the spin was enough to make you dizzy. The shill media will do almost anything to soften the blow when Disney is failing, but there's no fooling me on this one. I can see what the bad financial news means for Disney, and so can they. In this video, we're going to take a look at this news that Disney has lost a ton of subscribers this past quarter. Considering how many free subscriptions they get in their bundles with Verizon, this is just this side of catastrophic.
Please disperse! Nothing to see here!
We are also going to take a look at other signs that Disney Plus is struggling, which sets the scene nicely so that we can understand the absolute desperation the company must be feeling toward its multi-billion-dollar investment in Star Wars. And then we'll finish the video off showing the possible fruit of this desperation, a brand new rumor which just surfaced suggesting that Disney is looking at bringing back Rey Palpatine in order to save the struggling Star Wars franchise.
Got it. I got it.
As usual, I'll want to hear your thoughts on the subject. Do you think Disney will ride with Rey again, or do you think they've got something else up their sleeves? As for me, I'm just enjoying the show. So saddle up and prepare to laugh mockingly, because the inmates that are running the Disney asylum are determined to patch the holes in their sinking ship with dynamite and gasoline.
I'm not much on speeches, but it's so gratifying to leave you wallowing in the mess you've made. You're screwed. Thank you. Bye.
Alright, me hearties, in order to gather the full scope of Disney's failure and desperation, let's take a look at this article from Variety. Disney Plus drops 2.4 million subscribers in first loss. Bob Iger heralds significant transformation underway. Disney Plus lost a net 2.4 million subscribers in the last 3 months of 2022, marking the streaming service's first decline since launching in late 2020. Actually, let's pause for a second right there. I try not to be too pedantic, but this is a major error. No, Variety, Disney Plus did not launch in late 2020. It started in November of 2019, you absolute brainlets. Alright, now that I've done the editor's job for him, let's continue. This was the streaming service's first decline since launching, while the Mouse House's quarterly earnings topped Wall Street estimates. A little further down, it reads, the drop in Disney Plus subscribers, which was bigger than analysts expected, was entirely driven by a 3.8 million sequential decline of Disney Plus Hotstar, the version of the service offered in India and parts of Southeast Asia, to stand at 161.8 million at the end of 2022.
You don't say.
This seems like a bit of spin right here by Disney and its shills. It's funny how all these Disney Plus Hotstar subscriptions that they're losing right now are made to seem like they're no big deal when they're lowering the total subs on Disney Plus. But when Hotstar is padding the subscription count, Disney will treat Hotstar as if it's just another sub.
You hypocrite.
The truth is that because Hotstar costs just 299 rupees per month, or a little over $3.50, it is not very profitable for Disney. In fact, it is a major contributor to this trend here. This write-up is from nscreenmedia.com from a few months ago, and it suggests revenue per subscriber is going down dramatically for Disney+. So, on the one hand, maybe the Disney shills saying it isn't a big deal to lose these subscribers are correct. Maybe it's not a big deal.
What are you trying to convince me of exactly? That you're as useless as an asshole right here?
Maybe because Hotstar is such a large part of Disney+, the platform was never as impressive as they were trying to make it sound. According to an article from Business Today a few months ago, over 60 million Disney Plus subscribers were Hotstar accounts, meaning there are actually only about 100 million subs in countries where customers pay full price.
Well, guess what, buddy? I think you just convinced me.
Oh, that's gotta hurt!
Want more proof that Disney is struggling to stay above water? How about we look at this from The Hollywood Reporter? Bob Iger outlines new Disney org structure with 7,000 layoffs planned.
We are so screwed.
With CEO Bob Iger back at the helm, the new organizational structure of the Walt Disney Company is taking shape, with 7,000 layoffs planned. On Wednesday, the executive outlined his plan to swiftly restructure the company, effectively dismantling the Disney Media and Entertainment Distribution Group created by former CEO Bob Chapek in 2020. A little further down, the article details more of this. Disney plans to cut 7,000 jobs as part of its restructuring, which would represent a bit more than 3% of the company's global workforce. However, with theme park employees making up a significant portion of Disney employees, and with that division not seeing the same level of restructuring as other departments, the cuts are likely to be steeper in the entertainment and ESPN divisions. All of this information corresponds with a Google Trend chart that I've been tracking for some time. If you didn't know, Google Trends measures how often people search for terms on Google, and it showcases a term's popularity in the world at large. The blue line here represents The Mandalorian. The red is the Book of Boba Fett, the yellow is the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and the green is Andor. The Mandalorian was the peak of Star Wars during its first 2 seasons, but interest in Disney Plus Star Wars content has dropped significantly since. The same is true for Marvel as well. The first few MCU shows were the peak of Marvel's Disney Plus popularity. WandaVision and Loki were the top dogs, and everything they put out after, like She-Hulk, Hawkeye, and Ms. Marvel, has been descending rapidly. People are tuning out.
I don't care.
This is especially concerning for Disney when compared to the relative popularity of Netflix shows. The yellow here represents Stranger Things, and the green represents The Tiger King. Only The Mandalorian in purple comes anywhere close to The Tiger King, and everything is just a tiny blip on the radar compared to Stranger Things. Now take a quick look at the top 15 most streamed shows of 2022 according to Nielsen. The Google Trends data corresponds with what we see here. The only Disney shows to make the list are Encanto, Bluey, and The Simpsons. Two of them are acquired shows, one of which is the longest running show in history, and then there's a movie that parents let their kids watch over and over.
How am I going to get out of this?
With all of this in mind, many of us have been wondering what Disney is going to try to do to salvage the Star Wars brand. Well, during the past few weeks, there have been rumblings that Daisy Ridley has been seen at Lucasfilm Studios, and rumors of Rey's return to the Star Wars galaxy have been growing. This particular rumor, comes from WDW Pro. We're going to read about it in this article from Bounding Into Comics, but please remember that it is only a rumor. Naturally, I want to hear what your thoughts are as far as how likely it is Rey will come back. Drop your thoughts in the comment section and we'll chat about it. Anyhow, the article reads, Rumor: Walt Disney executives see Star Wars brand as damaged. Allegedly have new plan involving Rey and Baby Yoda. Before jumping into the information WDW Pro heard about Lucasfilm's plans for the future of Star Wars, he noted, I am told there was a decision point in the last few months concerning Star Wars, and that decision point came about because the brand is seen as damaged, even internally at Disney. He went on to explain why. That's due to declining viewership for Disney+. It's due to declining interest in the parks. Basically, what he's saying is that it's due to all the negative information, all of the negative data that I have been showing you for the past few minutes in this video. Anyhow, the article continues. Next, he illustrated, and that's particularly destructive on two fronts. First of all, Star Wars is supposed to be an evergreen franchise that has its own marquee spot on Disney+. And second of all, it has some of the most premium real estate in any of the Disney parks, both on the West Coast and on the East Coast. Star Wars cannot fail for Disney, he asserted, and the decision point is that Star Wars is failing.
That's the understatement of the year.
He continued, so it is my understanding that the top-level leadership, you make of that what you will, but the top-level leadership of Lucasfilm was brought with the top-level leadership of Disney as to what they're going to do in the future to reconcile this problem they have. This meshes with a line that Iger used during the earnings call outlined in the Hollywood Reporter article. He said, our new structure is aimed at returning greater authority to our creative leaders and making them accountable for how their content performs financially, Iger said. Our former structure severed that link and must be restored. Moving forward, our creative teams will determine what content we're making, how it is distributed and monetized, and how it gets marketed. What this suggests to me is that if WDW Pro's rumor is correct, then Bob Iger went to his old buddy Kathleen Kennedy and they decided on a cockamamie plan to save Star Wars. According to Bounding Into Comics, WDW Pro said, I'm told that some options for saving Star Wars included retconning the sequel trilogy as well as continuing the story, the narrative around what they've done so far. He then relayed, I'm told that Disney is going to bring back Rey.
Oh, dear God, no!
After a brief discussion with his panel guests about what their thoughts are about Rey returning, WDW Pro revealed, this contact, this source, tells me that the reason that they are going to potentially bring Rey back is to test it out. Put out a big merchandising push with a theatrical release to go along with it and find out. Can Rey invigorate Star Wars with a number of other characters around her? Well, I could save Disney billions of dollars here and let them know ahead of time exactly how their little test would go. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of